I'll have to
All right,
get
man. We're
the.
live.
Oh, we're live right now. I was gonna
We're
say
live. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I want to get the background on the steamboat name, but we can do that at a later time.
Yeah, we can do that later. So, guys, welcome back. We have another live stream going on with Fueled by Chai here. So today is going to be an interesting one. So today there's going to be a lot of new, I think, developments that you are building, new tools, and we are here to find out. To be honest, I intentionally did not read up on all our notes, so I will be exploring and learning all these for the first time as well. So, how do you want to start? Where do you want to start? And
Yeah,
what do you want?
well,
You want to show us first?
let's just kind of talk about like all the hype that you see on X right
Mm-hmm.
now about AI and trading, and you hear about people hooking up like OpenClaw to Polymarket, and they're
Yeah.
making you know a few grand a day, and what's real and what's not, and what can you actually do, and what should you do with AI, right? Like, there's a lot of limitations out there,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like it's very difficult right now to tell what's real and what's hype. And so what I've been playing with is a lot of AI, and what can you actually do with it. So we can go a number of different directions with
Actually,
this.
sorry, I'm going to ask you one small question
Yeah.
first. So,
Yeah.
it's very similar to when people were sharing like trades, like you don't know what is a actual real trade or if someone just sharing like bullshit or copy and
Hmm.
pasted stuff, like it's the
Hmm.
same thing, I guess. Like you don't know
Yeah.
what's real, what works. How do you
Yes.
even
How do
start
you?
to differentiate?
Yeah. I don't know. I think just trading for a long time, you can kind of tell what the easy bullshit is. It's like somebody posts something with like a 95% win rate, and they say, "Oh, I just set up open claw, and then I, went to the beach, and here's me drinking a Corona, and here's my equity curve, and it's like 45 degrees up." Like, that's clear bullshit. There's just no way that AI is going to do that for you. Even a system that you develop manually, that's going to be tough to do. Now, there's other ones that are a bit harder to know, right? And then you had a good point too about people just even either manually trading or doing just algo trading prior to AI. What's real and what's not. I see people like on YouTube, they'll post like a strategy and it'll show a couple of winning trades, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and they might be really big winning trades. And for somebody that's not coming from a trading or a statistics background, it looks really good and enticing. Like,
Yeah.
wow, that strategy caught those two big trades, right? But what they're not showing is, if this thing traded 100 trades, how would it have done? Would it have made money
Mm.
over the past month or the past year, right? Like, you need to have like a really big sample of trades to figure out
Yeah.
if something is really working or not. And a lot of these things that you just see on YouTube is, a lot of clickbait, just to get you to watch
Mm.
watch the video. So it's a challenge. Like, you got to go in there being very skeptical of anything that people are showing you as far as how well their strategy is doing, right? So that's the thing I would say is like, if they're posting stuff, especially if they're posting stuff in real time, there's some websites out there that will kind of track, people can connect their strategies to, and they can track it in real time how it's doing. And a lot of people that are doing this aren't gonna not gonna publish what their system is
Yeah.
doing in real time, right? So, but that doesn't mean you can't, like, the other cool thing is, like, if they're actually telling you what they're doing, you can, try it out yourself and actually
Mm.
see, okay, if I trade this in real time, am I going to get the same results that this person is getting? And with the stuff you can get now with AI for OpenClaw or Claude Desktop or Codex, and having like the Paradex MCP available now, so you can integrate AI with those tools. Like, there's just an infinite number of stuff you can try out on your own to see like what would work for you and what wouldn't. So, so question
Excited.
is, yes,
Yep.
what should we jump into first here? So, I guess we can talk about the Paradex MCP and what that even is and what you can do with it with AI. So I think the first thing to say is I personally would not trust AI to just do automated trading for
Mm.
me. So I think you can think of AI as like an intern, maybe. You know, you just hire this intern or a very entry level person. Are you going to trust them with $100,000 account, like right off the bat? Like everything you tell them to do, are you going to trust that they're going to, follow those rules to the T and not kind of go off and do their own thing, right? And so for me, that's like a hell no. I wouldn't just fund an account and
Right.
give it to an intern to trade. Now, if that intern happens to be good at coding, I might have them help me write a algo to do the trading, right? Or have me and we can kind of get into this a little more. You can kind of augment, you can have an algo that uses AI to help make some decisions, but the algo is basically actually doing the trading, and that kind of is like the news piece that we can do. But let's just jump in and show what like the Paradox MCP is and what you can do with it in Claude code. And
Yeah.
last time I tried
So
to share my screen on a live stream, my machine just totally bogged down. So let's I got
it's
a I
okay.
got a
We'll
better
pray.
yeah, I got a better machine now.
Oh,
So
nice. Damn.
yes, we'll see. Hopefully that took care of the problem.
So
All
while you're
right.
pulling a screen out, I want to give people context, those who have, or for those who are listening in. So Rob here is very experienced with not just vibe coding, but he actually understands how like the APIs interact, how it works. So he knows how to run his own automation using code, and he knows how to do it using like AI's help via MCP and all that. So that's his background. So when he says something can or cannot be done, or when he recommends something, like it's a legit solution because he has tried and tested many things, succeeded in some, failed in some, and that's why he's trying to help us not fail when we start
Yes.
playing with AI and MCP.
Yeah, exactly. So I've been writing software since like 1998. So I was writing software before AI is now. I am using AI quite a bit now to help me write software, but there's still some things that AI is not quite good at with software development, and we kind of get into that a little bit more too. Like, so I've been doing a lot of vibe coding of stuff, and there's some things that's really really good at, and some things that it's still struggling with like really badly. And I'm kind of surprised actually, given how there's some areas of coding where it just is killing it, and other areas where it's needing a lot of help. And I'm debating, do I just go in
Mm,
and write the stuff by hand? So is my
right.
screen sharing? Because it's showing us on the screen, but it's saying it's sharing my Claude desktop.
There we
There we go.
go. Our AI
There we
assistant on the
go.
back end helped us
There we
switch
go.
screens.
We got our AI assistant named Dan, full value Dan, on the back end there. So, all right. So here's the thing. You are going to need to have a little bit of a technical background to hook Claude up to Paradex. So I was trying this out last week originally. There's some instructions on Paradex's website in the documentation section about the API, which is kind of the traditional algo route. And then they got the MCP, which is the new kind of agentic AI route to talk to Paradex's systems. So in those
Mhm.
instructions, it tells you how to hook it up to Claude, how to hook it up to Codex, a few other AI clients. So I went with Claude since I already had that going. Now, the cool thing is once you get it hooked up, there's a number of different things you can do. So they call them skills. So you could just say, show me Paradex MCP skills. And this is also on Paradex's website. So it will list you basically what can this thing do out of the box, like just in its current setup. All right, that actually didn't take too long. Some of these things take a while to run, but basically you can get some oh, this is interesting. Why is it not scrolling? Oh, okay, there we go. So you can get the order book, you can get a list of the historical trades, charts, you can get information about the vaults that are available, and then some various system state. Now, and also if you upload your key into the configuration of Claude, you can I think it's live. I'm not sure at this point, but you could place trades with Claude here.
Yeah.
So you could tell Claude, hey, I want to buy 1 Bitcoin and set a stop limit at,
Mm.
you know, $60,000, and it could do that.
A
So
few things. Sorry. No, I was gonna
yeah,
say you're right. Like you can add your keys, but specifically, I think from what I understand from our product guide, add your sub key. So that's like a safer way for you to be able to place trades. Because with the sub key, there is no like withdraw function from it. So that's probably like
yeah,
the better thing to do for people who are less experienced.
yeah. Oh, absolutely. So that's a really good point. So using the sub key for the account. So basically, the way it works is you have your key for your overall account. You can do anything with your key. You can trade. You can
Yeah.
take money out. Like pretty much anything you can do from the UI, you can do using that key. So it's dangerous to use that as kind of your access for any sort of AI agent or API app or anything like that. Then you can create a sub key for any, your main account, or if you have sub accounts, and you can grant it a limited set of functionality. So you could say, I only want the sub key to be able to view the positions. I don't want it even to be able to place trades, or you can tell it, I want to be able to place trades with it, but not, withdraw funds. So you can kind of control the permissions on that. And then you can revoke those permissions at any time. So if like your model like goes crazy and it's not responding to you, I've seen this with OpenClaw, people posting about OpenClaw, how this one lady was like, it was going through her emails like she expected, but then it just started deleting them all. And she was sending her OpenClaw messages on Telegram telling, hey, stop deleting my emails. And it wasn't. So
Oh
in that sort
man.
of scenario, yeah, this is why I wouldn't have AI actually do the trading for me, right? In that scenario, if that was you and you were trading, you could revoke your key, and then the bot wouldn't be able to access the account anymore. So you're exactly right. That's definitely the benefit of using the sub key for
And you explained it super clearly. That was the
yes,
most clear explanation I ever heard for how subkeys
yes.
work.
Yeah.
All right.
So
So
yeah. So anyway, you can do all this stuff with this. Let's see here. Let's pull up a
so
list of market
So all these
summaries.
are skills, but it looks like it's basically just pulling information from Paradex and and it's bundled in a very easy to read way. So like I know immediately how I can interact with like the order book, for example.
Hmm. Yeah, so this is kind of like the out of the box skills that they've come up with so far,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so this one's like just getting the best bid and ask for, I just told it ETH, right? And I think there's about, I don't know, 15 or 16 of these. So it just kind of makes it very easy if you want to, do kind of quick and dirty things like this with it, to just get prices or get charts or something like that. But you can build on these skills and kind of make your own skills
Oh,
to augment this data, right? So and this is actually very easy to do with Claude. So what I told it I wanted this morning was, I want to make a heat map of all the assets on Paradex, and the heat map is going to be based on the funding rates, right? So I'm going to see everything: high positive funding rate, low positive funding rate, and everything in between. It's going to be color coded. Now the cool thing is, once you kind of create that, once you tell it like what you want to see, it's going to pull all that data in from Paradex, hopefully make it in a nice, like, kick-ass dashboard type of view that you want to see. And then you can tell Claude to save this as a skill. So that way you don't need to like give it that entire prompt all over again. Right. So I kind of went back and forth a little bit with Claude on this. So I said, oh, hey, I want a heat map, order it by funding rate. I want to see the funding rate in annual percentage yield, and I also want to see the funding rate in basis points per hour. And the reason basis points per hour is important when you're looking at funding rates is because if you're doing funding rate arbitrage, that's what you actually care about. Like, your commissions are going to be in basis points, your slippage is going to be in basis points, the spread that you're paying is going to be in basis points. So if you're paying, and if you're automating this, like, you're going to be paying a commission. If if you're trading on the UI, you don't pay it. Well, I guess you're paying a commission now. There's a slight commission for
Yep.
taker orders. Like let's say you're paying 1.5 basis points for a round turn commission now on Paradex, and let's say you're doing funding rate arbitrage and you're paying basis point and a half on the other exchange, so 3 basis points total, right? The important thing is like now you're seeing basis points per hour on that funding rate difference, right? So you know
Mm.
how many hours it's going to take you just to break even on your commission. I feel like this is what a lot of people miss when they're doing funding rate arbitrage, is they don't realize the commissions are going to cost them some money, and it's going to take a while to make that back with the funding rate. So anyway, I was going back and forth with Claude, trying to tweak the funding rate map and stuff like that. But once you got everything the way you want it, you could just tell Claude like, hey, then create this as a skill, and you can just go ahead and type that in. So
Oh,
once Claude adds it, so Claude will create all the code for that's needed for the skill, create the code, it will create the prompt, and then as a button to say save this as a skill. And once you click that, then it automatically pops up in Claude, and you don't have to like retype all of that stuff all over again. You can just click on. I keep clicking on my live
in
stream screen. I need to go. My other screen's over here. I need to actually click on it over here. So, and it kind of gives you a summary of what the skill is doing when you put it in when you click it
wow,
in.
useful.
Yeah, so it's probably going to take a little bit to pull in the data, so you can see it's thinking right now. And what the MCP is actually doing under the hood, it's interacting with the API. So there's kind of a few different layers of things that are happening here. So it's not like just AI is talking directly to Paradex. It's actually talking to the API, and the API is the layer that you write your algos on. So if you're writing your
Mm,
own algo in Python or Java or whatever, or Rust or whatever, it's talking to that API layer in Paradex. And that's basically all this MCP is doing as well. It's interacting with those
right,
same functions that your algo would be interacting with.
right.
So
So sorry, do you mind if I try and like break it down for my
yes.
slightly less skilled brain? So it's essentially MCP is essentially translating your prompts in English to code so that it can interact with the appropriate APIs that it needs to pull the data from Paradex. And once it pulls it in, it's technically still raw data, but because it has a framework of what it needs to do, it would then reorganize the data into whatever you ask it, whether it's a visual or whether it's just like a statement, for example. So
Mhm.
while it can pull a lot of information from a platform, and in this case Paradex, the person that is prompting still needs to understand what the hell they're asking though, right? Or is there an easier way to, I don't know, like is there an easier way to get insights? Because what you're trying to share with us is funding rate arbitrage that is a little bit more on the complex side of things. And after that,
Right.
maybe let's try and explore like some simple things that people can do as well.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, so that's a good point. So this is where AI, like, I feel like this is the people that are gonna like really kill it with AI are the ones that know what they want to do, but they wouldn't have been able to do it kind of otherwise on their own, right? Like they don't have a background in software development, but they have this idea of what it is that they want, right? Oh, and just got our funding rate thing back here. Um, so yeah, so this is a really good point. There's kind of two paths that I see with AI. There's you got the idea, but you don't know how to like implement it, right? AI is
Mm.
going to be awesome for that. Now, the other thing I feel like AI is really good for as well is like I kind of have an idea or I want some ideas. Um, and then you use AI to first kind of help you try to refine what it is that you want to do, right? Like, so you could tell AI, hey, I want to trade these markets, right? Like, let's say, okay, Paradex just implemented new spot markets and they got perp markets, the perp futures. You could tell AI, hey, what types of trading strategies could I do that might make money utilizing these two markets, and then it might list like 5 or 10 things that you might be able to do with those two
Ah,
markets. Then you can dive into those a little more and say, okay, let's explore this. What would a strategy doing, what would a strategy look like doing where you buy the spot and you sell the futures contract and try to collect the funding rate different, the funding rate on the futures contract. And then it would refine that strategy a little more. So you could take like you could have AI kind of help you come up with the initial ideas, and then the
mm,
ones that you think you might kind of vibe with, your personality and what your trading style might be. You could start diving into those further and start refining them. And then once you have something that's kind of like a little more defined, then you could have AI actually help implement an actual like skill or help you write code to actually trade that in real life. So,
gotcha.
so we got our oh, this is cool. This mouse over
Oh,
thing wasn't wasn't happening before. But so basically it went out to Paradex. It got a list of every asset that's currently available for the perp futures. And then it's ordered it by funding rate, and it's also telling us how much volume has been traded. So like it's kind
mm,
of crazy. Is this right? Hyper has only had $17 in volume for the last 24 hours. So the other cool thing that it did for me, and I didn't tell it to do this, is it created a way to order the heat map by some other things. So this is a absolute rate. So we have a negative funding rate, like for this one here,
ah,
alphabetical, and then by volume. So if you wanted to trade just like the most liquid assets on Paradex, you could figure out the top what is it, 12 or 14 here in these top two rows and what the funding rate
got
might be
it.
for those. So and setting this up, this probably took me, I don't know, maybe 10 or 15 minutes to kind of go back and forth a bit with Claude to refine how it looked and worked. And then once I kind of had it set up, I said, okay, create a skill for this. And so I don't have to keep telling you every time what I want you to do. Right. So this is kind of an example of like, I had an idea of what it is I wanted. And then I was using AI to actually help me build it. Right.
Okay, as a software engineer, if you were to build this on your own, like how long would that take?
Oh my gosh. This is the crazy thing about AI. Like I am probably doing the work of like 5 software developers, you know, like literally like all the different apps that I'm working on right now. I got Claude Code or Codex going in all these different windows, tell it what to do. It's working on it. I see what it produces. I tell it, okay, make these changes to it, then go on to the next screen, have it doing this thing. So like actually writing something like this would have easily, easily been like 1 to 2 like full days worth of work if I was like starting from scratch and writing it by hand, right? Because you got
Damn.
one layer is just getting the interaction with the exchange, the layer that's actually pulling the data out, which is in itself not trivial. And then the other part that's really difficult, at least for me especially, is developing like the user interface and making it look nice, you know. And that's done. It's using like HTML and CSS behind the scenes to do that. And that's actually what
Um,
Claude is doing behind the scenes. It's writing Python and writing HTML and JavaScript and CSS. It's not actually just like in his
yeah,
head and saying, "Oh, I'm gonna like throw a little block out there that has like BTC in it." It's actually
gotcha.
writing code in the console here while it's working, and that's how it's like fetching and presenting the data.
I got a few questions. So it feels like there's a lot lower chance that Claude or AI in general, when using MCP, like it's a lower chance that it would hallucinate data because it's pulling from an external source. It's not trying to process like random information on the internet, for example. Is that
Right.
accurate to say?
Yeah.
Like it's more accurate.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Although I have read stories about like the CFO was basing its decision on data that the AI was feeding it, and then I was kind of wondering, well, where was the AI pulling its data from? Like, how did it hallucinate
Yeah.
data? So I don't know. You can never be 100% sure, but in theory, if it's pulling it directly from the API, and then just using that. Now, we're not having the AI like make any decisions based off of this data, right? It's just basically displaying it in
Mm,
this case. So the chances that this data is getting made up or hallucinated somewhere in that pipeline is very, very, very
mm,
minimal. And if
understand.
you, if, yeah, and if you were really paranoid about that, you could have tell Claude like, hey, make a log file and log the API calls that you're making, right? So you could actually go and verify that. Okay, let me look at the logs. Let me go look at the Paradex UI and just make sure that there's a sanity check here.
The other thing I want to ask is, so I had no idea that it was building this using HTML, CSS. So that's why it's interactive and you have the mouse overs.
Mhm.
Have you tried clicking? Do they bring you to the
I, I
markets in
I have like I didn't ask for this either. And
uh
it's weird that you asked me about this. I didn't ask for ask for it to do this, and I was just playing around. And I actually clicked on one of these.
right.
Last time I did this, we'll see if it does it again. But it did
Okay,
a kind of a
okay.
deep, it kind of did a deep dive into that asset. So let's
Oh,
see.
that makes sense as well.
Yeah, so let's see what happens here. Okay, so
Oh, I think it's doing a deep dive.
yeah, so it's doing a deep dive. So I
Okay,
clicked
okay,
on it.
okay, okay.
So I was like, okay, that's pretty clever that it came up with that because that's kind of a legitimate use for like a mouse click on a tile, right? So now it's
Yeah,
it's basically using the MCP again, going out and getting more information about this asset. So it's pulling not only the funding data, but it's getting information from the order book. The Klein's
man.
call here is basically the historical data chart that's pulling. So it's going to probably run for a minute or two while it
Got
pulls its
it.
data from the server. So I was like,
And just
that's pretty cool.
yeah. And just so people are aware, the heat map that you created with Claude, that is a snapshot, right? Like it's not technically live data,
Correct.
but
Correct.
you can
Yes.
ask more questions. And because it really has compiled all the information, you can ask it all kinds of questions, I guess, to make a trading decision.
Right. So, like for example, now Claude is smart enough too, where if an exchange doesn't have an MCP, it will look up to see how to use its API. Right. So if you wanted to do a funding rate arbitrage and say you already had Paradex hooked up here with the MCP and the funding rate, you could say, okay, I want you to like take a look at some other exchange and pull its funding rate down for the same asset and show me the ones that have the biggest difference in API, the APY, and so you can make a trading decision, based on that. So this is pretty cool. It created this chart. It showed this is the price chart. It's showing the funding rate annualized. We got the snapshot of the order book at that time, and then it's making some observations about what it's seeing here. So you could kind of if you wanted to, you could kind of try to package this stuff up and if you have some sort of theory about either funding rates and price direction or order book and price direction, you could have AI kind of help you create or figure out how to quantify this theory that you have to say, okay, well, let's go long when the funding rate is, you know, going up, you know, at this rate, because that means, or that means other traders are piling in, right? So let's make this like a kind of a momentum trade, right? We'll try to catch on to the trend that everybody else is, or you could try to fade the trend, and we can talk a little bit more about that too, where it's like, okay, if the funding rate's increasing, that means like a lot of people are going long. Let's fade that. We'll go short. We'll try to catch a price reversal while we'll also get to collect that funding rate. Uh, because the longs are going to be paying the shorts in that
Mm.
scenario. So
This almost feels like a perfect segue for like the next thing that you're gonna share with us, but I'll let you like finish up your thoughts first, man.
yeah. So yeah, I mean this is kind of finishing up like some of the things that you can do with the MCP and Claude. We haven't shown really anything automated yet at this point, right? But it's a great place to have AI help you do research about the research and test out theories that you might have. So this is also
Mm.
great too if you see somebody posting something on X, like you could use this and AI and the MCP and all the data that Paradex has to see if you can kind of validate what that person is claiming, you know.
That's a
So
good point, Rob. Sorry, before we move on, can we give the audience and whoever's listening in later with our clips like homework? Let's give people homework. Could you maybe share like something that people can check, like a strategy that they can try? So when they start implementing like MCP, they immediately have something that they can, test it out with. Maybe
yeah,
not funding arbitrage. That's really like high level stuff. Something that maybe the everyday retail trader might be interested in.
yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, some strategies that are pretty basic, and I saw this kind of touted on YouTube, is like a moving average crossover. So, a moving average is like you're taking the average price over the last,
Hmm.
15 minutes or sometimes 15 days, like depending on like if you're trading based on the daily charts or on the intraday charts. But let's say you're trading on the daily charts and somebody's like, oh, this moving average crossover strategy. So if you trade it when like the 50-day moving average crosses over the 200-day moving average, it just the strategy just kills it, right? And then somebody shows like two winning trades, right? And that they made a ton of money on, but they don't show the 80 trades that they lost money on, right? But you could have Claude say, you just tell Claude with the MCP, like, hey, I want to get the 50-day moving average and the 200-day moving average and show me what would happen if I bought every time the 50 crossed over the 200 and sold every time the 50 crossed under the 200, you know, and you would see like over the last, you could tell Claude too how like how far back in time you want to go, because obviously the further back in time you're gonna go, the longer it's gonna take because it's got to download more data. But if you say like maybe the last 3 months or the last 6 months, you could say, oh yeah, okay, I can see where that person won those two trades, right? It was very clear on the chart or in that test. But then I see like 78% of their other trades were losers. And if you trade this strategy overall this last 6 months, your account would have been down like 35% or something like that, right? So that's a good thing to try to test out with Claude, is just a very simple strategy like that where you could try to validate somebody else's idea.
Will I break Claude or break MCP if I tell it like that moving average crossover criteria and then compare it with all like markets in the last 3 months? Is
Oh,
that
I
too much
see.
data?
Are you talking about like all the assets on
Yeah.
Paradigm?
So I
Yeah.
can see
So
which one actually kind of worked with the moving average
with that
crossover
strategy,
strategy.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's a good idea, because you could use this kind of as a way to filter out like, okay, out of all the assets on that are tradable, like what would this have actually worked on over the last 6 months? So it might take a while, but it would be doable. So you might want to, you could probably do it kind of this is what I would do if I were you and I wanted to test this out. So I'd start with just one, like just start with Bitcoin, see how long it takes to do, right? Then say, okay, take the top 5 assets by volume today, do that, see how long that takes to run. If it's not too bad, just keep adding more to that list
Makes
until it's
sense.
just taking so long that it's not going to be doable, or it comes back and it's like you're hitting the rate limits set by Paradex for their MCP.
Makes
And
sense. We don't want
yeah,
people thinking it doesn't work.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay,
So
okay. That's
yeah,
great.
but Yeah, because it's gonna take not only is it gonna take time to download the data from the servers, because those calls take a bit of time, but it's also gonna take a bit of time for Claude to crunch those numbers once it does have the data, right? So there's kind of two things going on there when it is gonna be kind of going through that process. And then the kind of the third thing too that I've noticed that takes a while sometimes is it takes a while to actually generate the results user interface once it's kind of done with its
Oh,
processing.
right, right.
So those are kind of things to keep in mind if you're gonna go kind of like hog wild with the data. But I love that idea because like this is the exact thing that AI is like awesome at. You got a nice idea, like, and testing this on your own is going to be would have been extremely hard otherwise. But having AI help you do it is going to make it within reach, right? And that's the awesome thing about AI, right? Is like you have these ideas in your head and you want to try to see what would happen if you
Yeah,
actually implemented them.
awesome. All right, can't wait to try that.
So
Next.
yeah, so this actual idea was inspired by you as well. So so Steve and I were talking like, I don't know, a few weeks ago, a month ago or
Yep.
whatever. And he had this idea is like, okay, what if we had some sort of news algorithm, right? You take the news and the sentiment of the news and you make trading decisions based on that. And I was like, okay, that's really interesting because that's very difficult to do with an algo, right? Because an algo, you got very, very rigid rules set up around um, it's very much math based, very logic
Mm,
based, but taking a group of headlines and trying to categorize them, it's very difficult for an algo to do, but that's something that AI is very good at, right? Kind of that interpretation. So this was an interesting exercise between kind of combining like an algo trade and having AI as an input to that, right? So I kind of already talked about like I wouldn't be comfortable giving AI these rules and say, oh, hey, look at the headlines and go buy when it's bullish or sell when it's bearish, sort of thing. But you could have an algo set up to say, I'm going to call AI, I'm going to have I'm going to give it the headlines, and then it's going to tell me what it thinks, if it's bullish or bearish, and give me a confidence score. And then based on that, I'll make the buy or sell decision. So that's exactly what I did. I had Claude help me come up with the code for this. And so my idea to kind of like take that a step further is like, okay, I'm going to take 15 like different news sources, and 3 times a day, I'm going to download the new headlines. So at the New York Open, the Asia Open, and the European Open. And I'm going to
mm.
classify those headlines as bullish or bearish, or I'm going to have AI do that actually. And then based on that, I'm going to make a trading decision. So for me personally, I'm kind of a contrarian. So if the news headlines are like very bullish, then I'm going to short it. And if the news headlines are very bearish, then I want to buy. And so I had Claude help me write the code to pretty much do all of this. So it goes out to help me identify free news sources. I was hoping to use Twitter, but the Twitter API is
Oh,
crazy expensive. It's like $5,000 a month to get the full kind of fire hose of tweets
right.
hooked up to your algo. So I was like, okay, that's out. Because my one of my ideas was to like use Twitter as kind of a
Hold on, Rob. I think your audio got cut off. It's either your mic or
it
it's
was.
my.
I'm sorry.
Oh
Am
no,
I
all
back?
good, all good.
Okay.
Yeah,
I
we
was I was adjusting my microphone here, and I just hit the mute button.
uh
So I don't know,
it's the
where did I
good
get cut out
stuff. Oh, you only got cut out for like the last 2 seconds, so
there? Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Can put tape on it. Oh, that's a good idea. The problem is, okay, I just saw Dan post a comment there. Anyway, so yeah, so what I was saying is like it helped me identify the news sources. So and then write the code to actually go out and get the headlines from the last 8 hours, say. And then it helped me write the code to interface with Claude API, because basically this algo is going to have to take these, say, dozen news sources, all the headlines it downloaded from last 8 hours, send them to Claude and say,
Ah,
Claude, tell me what you think of these headlines. Are they bullish or bearish? And give me a confidence score. And then it comes back, and then the algo takes that result and it kind of continues doing its thing to decide if it's going to buy or sell. So the so Claude Code actually helped me write all of that. Like,
right.
again, this would have been like days and days and days worth of work, prior to AI. So based on that, and this, there's not a pretty user interface for this one. I just basically have this running kind of in the background as a Python app. But I can show kind of what the output to that has been. Let's see. I'm sharing a different screen right now. So let me replace. And this screen is not going to be quite as sexy. Let's see.
Okay, I see
Okay.
it.
Yeah. Are we zoomed into? Okay, there we go. Perfect. All right. So this is basically just sitting on, a server, and I have this kind of running as a background process now. So every approximately 8 hours, when the next market opens, it gets the headlines, reads them in, asks Claude for the its opinion on the bullish or bearish condition, and then gives it back to the algo. And the algo's like, okay, I'm going to either buy it or sell it or stay where I'm at. So actually, what I've found is I've had this running for like a week and a half now. It went long because the headlines have been bearish, and it stayed long this entire time. Because I can show, I have it printing out also every 8 hours. I want to see what its thinking process was when it made its decision, right? Because this is another thing, trying to avoid it being a total black box
Mm.
as to what's going on. So it's creating this file called signals, and it might be a bit hard to read, but you see there's a timestamp here every 8 hours, and it tells what market open it was. So this one's the Asian market,
Oh.
right? So it's saying, okay, bearish. It's making a recommendation for a long, or to hold if it's already long. And then it gives a kind of a little summary about what it thinks of the news. So it's basically saying the headlines are consistently showing Bitcoin struggling at resistance levels, facing sell-offs, price rejections, and volatility concerns despite occasional rallies. And the dominant theme involves price stalls, retreats from highs, and cautionary warnings about sustainability of rallies. So, like, me being a contrarian, I'm like, yeah, let's go. We'll go long in this bearish news, right? So it's basically been bearish day after bearish day after bearish day since I started this thing about a week and a half ago. So it's been long this whole time. Right now, I think it went long at around 71,000. I don't know what it's at today, like maybe like 66 ish.
66. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're sitting on a small loss at this point. And the way I've set this up is it's only kind of paper trading. So it's using Paradex's data to just figure out what the current price is. But it's basically saying, if I traded today, so if I went long based on this news right now, what's the price at Paradex? And I'll use that as my like entry price, right? And then let's say the news starts getting better, and it's like, okay, now I'm going to go short. What's the current price at Paradex? And I'll use that as my exit price and also my entry price into my new short position. Now, the next step, if like I actually was comfortable with how this strategy was performing, and like, okay, I want to hook this up to actual Paradex account now and live trade this, then I would need to modify the algo a bit more to say, okay, I'm going to use the Paradex API and send like a place order or a cancel order to initiate a new position or close out an
Mm.
existing position. So I didn't want to do that quite yet, because I was like, I don't have any idea how the strategy is going to do. Maybe it's going to be better to follow the herd and buy when everybody is screaming that things are great, and sell when everybody is scared shitless.
Yeah.
But it's only been a couple weeks, and there's not enough data points to kind of figure out if which way this thing is gonna
Yeah.
go.
But Rob, actually you just shared quite a lot of good like insights and also probably best practices, because when we were talking through this, doing our various calls, right? Like you were always very cautious and you were saying like, yes, MCP can trade for you, but for complex things, maybe you wanna use it for data collection, because in this context, once you build this strategy, this is too simple for it to just run live. Like like if it's always long but market is bad, should it continue to buy more or acquire, or should it at some point set like a stop loss and all that? So all that isn't accounted for in this strategy, and all that requires someone with enough experience in trading to know how to do that. So you can't just point blank think of a like if I did this myself, I would think, oh, what a fun strategy, but then I would be losing money because no security, no sense of like what my threshold should be, or and things like that, right? So
Mhm.
I fully understand why you say like MCP is ideal right now for data collection for the general public, because it is great for analysis. But take all strategies with a pinch of salt when you want to push them live, because it
You don't know necessarily what some of the limitations are for those strategies,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so this is another thing I like to use AI for as well, is I'll say, okay, here's what I'm thinking. Here's my strategy. Here's what I want to do. I want to sell the news, basically. Any good news, I want to short it. Any bad news, I want to buy it. Um, what am I missing? What else? If you were trading this strategy yourself, what risk management would you put in place to this? Like, and it's probably going to talk about over leveraging yourself. And you see that a ton with traders that trade crypto, right? They'll go 10x on this type of strategy, right? And then they end up getting liquidated. And the whole idea of trading is to like stay in the game as long as you possibly can.
Mm-hmm.
It's not to try to like 10x your bag by Friday happy hour so you can show off to all your friends
Yeah.
when you're buying them rounds of shots at the pub, right? Like the point is to like still have an account next week. That's
Yeah.
what you want to have. So you can tell AI, like, and I do this all the time, is like, hey, where are my blind spots on this? What am I missing? What risk management should I be putting in place? Or what other things do I need to think about that I haven't talked about yet? And have it try to like poke holes in your theories,
Yeah.
um,
Very
because I mean,
important.
other problem with AI that I see, and you've heard about this as well in the news, is it tries to be like very agreeable to you. It'll tell you something is a great idea, even if it's not really a great idea. Like, I've
Yeah.
got this idea that I want newspapers to be delivered by, carrier pigeons, and it'll be like, oh, that's a great idea. People, will love pigeons showing up on their doorstep every morning with the newspaper, and you could, make a killing off of it because people don't want to like be on their screens anymore. And would it be a good idea? Probably not, but AI is
Yep.
going to kind of agree with you. So, you
Yeah.
know, telling it to be critical of it, but not just for the sake of being critical. This is then it swings the other way, right? Like it's just
Objective.
shits on every idea that you
Yeah.
have. So, um,
Rob,
but
one more thing I want to add as well. Like what you just showed us is actually a way also to test other people's strategy. Whatever someone is saying is doing well and this is the prompt, or not even the prompt, like this is my strategy. You can
mhm,
take it, put it here. You can backtest it with data that is being pulled from Paradox via MCP. So that's one way to verify. I mean, like I guess it's a like a common phrase, like don't trust, verify. So that's one way to
yeah,
help people know if that strategy is good or not,
yeah,
or
yeah,
it's
yeah,
real or not.
exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No, I think that's a great use for AI, is testing out these ideas and these theories. And usually, what I think you'll end up seeing is that they're leaving out some critical piece of information. So if that strategy is actually working for them in real life, they might not be giving you the full picture of
Yeah,
all the inputs that they're using to
yeah,
make their trading decisions, right? But that still doesn't mean that you can't take what they've given out publicly and kind of make your own tweaks to it to create something that still works,
right.
right? Because I've had many trading strategies that I've developed over the years where it was somebody else's kind of initial idea or theory about something that I took and I kind of ran with, did some tweaks to it, did some testing to it, and kind of created something that would work for me, you know. So just because somebody, and that's the other thing too, just because somebody's out there and they post some kind of clickbaity type uh, kind of headline or thumbnail or whatever, doesn't mean there might actually be something there if you take the time to like go do more testing and add some more ideas to it, to make it actually usable like in real life.
That's a good point. It's not always binary, like real or not real. It's like it may have
Hmm.
some facts, and then like you were saying, like how you would optimize this is use AI to poke holes and give you suggestions, and that's how you can
Hmm.
improve on someone else's strategy as well.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Ah, so much fun stuff to do, man.
I know that's the thing I'm struggling now with all this AI stuff. It's like I am running out of time. It seems like every day I got like all these different things I want to try out now, and it's possible to try them out because of these tools. But now time is the limiting factor,
Yeah.
you know? So, but I don't know what else should we cover at this point. I don't know if we have any
I think we
questions from
wanted.
anybody or anything out there,
All
but
right, questions. Let's ask our AI full value Dan if there's any questions that have come in, or actually a question to you. To you, Rob, is what are some of the craziest strategies that you've seen on, I don't know, on X or anywhere, and maybe you've tested it and you realize, oh my God, absolute bullshit.
well, I mean, some of these I don't even need to test because I just know by reading these posts that they're bullshit. Now, I was thing for me is I was trying to figure out why are they even posting these things in the first place if they're making so much money? Why are they just giving it away? You know, but anything pretty much anything you're seeing posted right now related to poly market is probably bullshit. It's most likely they just want clicks because they've got an affiliate link or something like that that they want people to follow. Is kind of what I
Oh,
think I figured out the reasoning behind. You know, it's like, oh my quant friend at Citadel just left and he sent me this poly market bot that they wouldn't let him trade at the firm, but he just let me have it, and here it is in GitHub, sort of thing, right? And it's like there's just no freaking way somebody's just gonna like be giving that out on X for free to
yeah,
everybody, right? So, but I think the other thing is like the moving average crossover one, that's probably not going to be profitable as is in the real world, like without some sort of tweaks to it, right? So while the guy gave out some nuggets on his channel, like that strategy just on its own is not, I can almost guarantee it's not going to make money over the
mm,
long term. Like it might work for short periods of time for some assets and not other assets, but over the long term on its own, moving average crossovers are not gonna fly. But that doesn't mean you can't have AI kind of help you like refine the strategy and maybe come up
yeah,
with something that will work, you know?
yeah. Okay, so our AI did help compile some stuff, and I think this is one of the points that wanted to cover today, but I don't remember what the context is. So, did you get your Claude addicted to trading crypto, or did someone else get Claude addicted to trading crypto? Was it you?
That wasn't me. Yeah, that was
Or
not
wasn't
me.
you?
I've seen somebody post about their OpenClaw, how they kind of just set it up on their Mac Mini and gave an email address and a Telegram channel and a certain allocation of money, and it kind of trades crypto on its own, and it like filters this guy's inbox for him. So it's kind of like an admin executive that also does trading. But
Oh,
that was
wow.
not me. That was not me. That gave AI trade. Now I did see somebody that had like 10 agents set up and they just let it loose on some account, and overall the agents lost money. Some of them blew up their accounts, some of them made money in their account, but overall out of the 10 agents, they were overall they lost money just kind of autonomously trading the accounts given to it. So
Well, I could do that. I could lose money anytime as well. You don't need a bot to do that.
yeah, but now you can have AI do it for you, so you can
Yeah, I
do other
guess.
things
Yeah, you
while you're
can.
losing money.
That makes sense. You can earn money while it loses money for you.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, I think someone asked a question. I think they were inspired by like the news bot strategy that you built. So someone's asking, is it possible to build a bot that trades news events in real time? I can answer that.
yeah. Go ahead.
Technically, yes, but you shouldn't just build one point blank. Like what Rob was saying, use AI to help you like refine it, set more like more strict conditions, not just for how you define whether the news is positive or negative sentiments, but what to do with it and set limits and safety nets for the trading side of things. Like for example, if you're going to put like all your money into one account, like maybe it's not supposed to trade more than 10%, for example.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And the other thing too, the other consideration with the news trading, right, is your source of news. How quickly is that news actually getting published, right? And what is the quality of the news? So, like somebody with like a Bloomberg terminal, like real time news source, if they hook their algo into that, they're getting all the news like right away, right? Whereas I'm using, CoinDesk or something like that. Like how quickly are they
Right.
publishing that news? And the other thing you have to take into account too is any bit of news, is it end up being positive or negative? Like let's say the Fed ends up cutting rates. Like, okay, well, was that already priced into the market or was it not? Is that a bullish, ends up being a bullish thing or a bearish thing? So there's a lot of interpretation there too with the news source. But the quick answer to the question though is like, yes, it's absolutely possible to create something that trades on based on the news headlines in real time. Like you could totally do that. Just be careful, and make sure you have your risk management set up in a way that's tolerable for you if it ends up not going well.
Yeah.
I did see somebody made a comment about people getting killed on API fees. Yeah, that's I don't know about getting killed, but I mean, trading with the API is more expensive than trading through the user interface in most cases. Although I did see Paradex lowered some of their API fees for maker orders. So if you're posting
Mm.
liquidity in the order book, you don't pay any commissions for that. So that's oh, I see. Not okay. The person is talking about AI API fees. So yes and no. So at least with my news bot, the I'm pinging Anthropic like 3 times a day, and these particular calls are not very expensive. It's not doing a whole lot of heavy lifting to just figure out if 15 headlines are bullish or bearish. So I'm paying maybe 2 to 3 cents per API call, and it's making 3 of those a day. So the cost on that is pretty slim.
Oh,
Yeah.
right.
Now, I don't know how popular this is going to be, but I do use DeepSeek for some stuff, and it is so freaking cheap. It's crazy. It's like a, the stuff I'm doing with DeepSeek is like a tenth of the price of OpenAI, and for this particular use case, it's just the use case I have it being used for is just as good as OpenAI. And I was just kind of blown away when I saw I was making all these API calls. And I was like scratching my head. I was like, I would have spent like $2 in a few hours on OpenAI. Extrapolate that over months, it would have been a crazy expensive. It was like two
Right.
cents on DeepSeek for these
Damn.
API calls. So that's another thing. If you're comfortable running on the Chinese models, they're very cheap, and some of them are comparable depending on what your use case is. But I do agree, like you can get totally murdered on the API fees on Anthropic and OpenAI, depending on what you're doing.
That's a good question. It's a question from someone that actually uses AI a lot, so
Mhm.
that's good to address.
So, got anything else here, or we're probably close to wrapping it up?
Yeah. I I think we can wrap it up, man. I wonder if our AI is gonna pop up
Yeah,
and
AI.
then say hi to the
Where's our
team.
where's our AI guy?
Oh, the AI is replying. The AI is replying.
Well, the
Oh, hey
screen's back.
guys.
There he is.
Yeah, hey,
Hey!
just hanging out, just setting up tweets.
Yeah. There's a
But
lot going on right now.
exciting stuff though. I know.
Yeah. You know, the other
I,
thing too that actually before we end
Mhm.
up closing it out is like if somebody like if people want to see me like experiment with something or have an idea like or just want to know something a deeper dive into something else regarding AI and the APIs and trading like either DM me or these guys and I'm playing with this stuff like all the time. So I'm more than happy to like take somebody's idea and experiment with it and try to see what we can come up with. So
I need to know how to consistently make money at options trading.
me too.
Yeah. All right. Let's get our buddy Claude on next time.
So okay, yeah. This as soon as the options trading goes live
Mhm.
on Paradex, I do have some ideas I want to test out. Right? Because
Okay.
you could have Claude help you construct some trades that might seem kind of complex to people that haven't done this before. But let's say like oh, I'm bullish on Ethereum or let's say Bitcoin if that's going to be the first asset. Help me build an options trade that expresses this idea, and I don't want to risk more than say $500, and I want the potential return to be at least twice that if the trade goes well. So you could have it like help you build what that options trade would look like, what expiries to use, what strikes to use, and then how to go about placing that trade. So that's going to be a good one, I think, for AI to help with.
Yeah. Now that would be a good one, and it's just you have to know how to talk to AI and make these requests
Mhm.
because you can't just like please just make me not lose any more money, Claude. Come on, bro.
Going on, bro?
Because yeah, it does hallucinate if you do give bad instructions, and
Yeah.
it can get
But
frustrating.
yeah, and I know that it has been agreeable for the most part in the past, but
Mhm.
I also have noticed that it has, at least more recently in the last couple months, sometimes pushed back on ideas that I've had about like, hey man, you're kind of being unrealistic about what you're asking
Yeah,
for here, right? Like
Wow.
yeah.
maybe not
I
in
actually
those terms, but
I've seen it. I love it. I love that
yeah,
it gives you like these options. Like, oh, I can't necessarily do that, but here are some different
right.
options.
Yeah.
Whereas Gemini and ChatGPT, those like, okay, that's a great idea. Let's do
Yeah,
this.
it's a great idea. Yeah, go 100x on your accounts, and
Mhm.
when you see a positive headline, and close it out for a huge profit when you're done.
Mhm.
So, all right.
But yeah, we're at just a little more over an hour, and I think this was a great stream. And we'll come back and try out some other things next week.
Let's do it.
All right, thanks for everyone's time, and we'll catch you next week. Bye.
All right. See you
Thank you,
guys.
Rob.
What I forgot, we did this move, but I forgot what the reference was.
Oh, it's printing. You're printing money, man.
Oh, there we go. Let's